You're welcome back. You're still watching GMG Plus live on Metro Television. My name is Jackie. And did you know that markets usually, get prices wrong, or they place wrong value on prices? And price is what you pay and value is what you get. And so as a businessman, as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, you always need to thrive to put some value on your business. It is very, very important. Today, we talk about how to position yourself as a business person to attract investors to your business, which is one other important things you need to do as an entrepreneur. And I have an entrepreneur here. Yes, she is an entrepreneur. She's a founder and CEO of Knowledge Channel Africa Limited, and she is a multilingual as well. I'm really interested in that, and reading about her, I'm like, oh wow, I was really impressed with her achievements. Welcome to GMG Plus, Hannah Akwa.
Thank you, Jackie. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm fabulous.
I mean,
to be here.
Like I said, reading about you, I was like, okay, wow, such a brilliant young woman. This is an inspiration to every young business woman. Yeah. I mean, I think congratulations is in the right order, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, thank you so much. It's not easy, but
it's not easy. I mean, how difficult is it for a woman who is an entrepreneur? How difficult is it for you to excel, to succeed?
I think the word entrepreneurship is like a challenge in itself, but then it's the gender as being a woman, it's also not been that easy because there are many ways of which some people can either make it easy for you to get far, or sometimes you have to like go the extra mile. Sometimes I always say you have to give like 200% to kind of prove
because you're a woman.
Yeah. Just to prove and show that you're capable, that they believe in you, so they can also come back. You know, sometimes you've done something, and people are like, ah, you did it by yourself, or you are leading the team, or they see me and they say, okay, where's your guy? You know, where's your big man? You know, I'm like, no, it's me. It's me. But it's okay. I like to shock them when it comes to that, right? But it just also shows that a lot of us have the capabilities and you have to give us a try. But it also stands, or what I say stems from looking at your morals, looking at integrity, and the ethics that you carry each time that you do your work. I strive for excellence in everything that I do. It is not easy. Sometimes it means sleepless nights, but I like to see a smile on people's faces, and I want to know that my clients can come back. I have some clients in the US who are using me or engaged with my company now for 5 years. Next year will be our 6th year. And to me, that just shows that they love what we do, and they like the fact that we hold integrity into everything that we do. We communicate with them and we tell them the truth. So if things are tough, we tell them, hey, you know, we don't wait for them to come to Ghana and then say, oh, by the way,
this is what it is. But I mean, talking about entrepreneurship, can an entrepreneur be born or made? Is an entrepreneur born or made?
So when I was living outside, I'll say, oh no, entrepreneurs are made, you know. But now that I've been in Ghana for 5 years now, I think we are all entrepreneurs. What we go through in Ghana every day, I mean, from a housewife to someone running a store, to obviously someone running a conglomerate, you know, like MT. We are all entrepreneurs because what a housewife has to do to manage the home, you know, check the food is done, maybe they have a house girl or boy, the children picking up, the driver schedule, that is planning. And what we do as entrepreneurs is you plan and you grow. And so the success of growing your family, your kids maybe graduate, go to school, get married, have grandchildren, you should pat yourself on the back because you've actually gone through so many processes that we as business people have to do as well. And you should all believe that we are all entrepreneurs in our own right. And so I think we are all entrepreneurs, and so we can learn these skills and aim for better and higher, as we said, as excellence.
We can learn and of course be higher in whatever we do. But we're here to talk about how to position your business to attract investors. But first of all, I mean, who are investors? Are investors people that just pump money into your businesses and then that's it? Who can we say is an investor?
So this is a very good question because many times everyone comes, hey, I need investment, I need money. I'm like, okay, first of all, do you know what kind of investor or financier, I should say, you're looking for. And just quickly, I can just mention the typical ones that people know are the angel investors.
So we'll go to the types, but I want to know, who is an investor?
An investor is someone who pumps money into your business. Now, an investor could be a debt or equity investor, right? Or an investor could be someone who could also partner. And that's another thing that people might not understand. What do you mean by partner? You know, so once you understand your business and you realize, okay, you might say you need cash and cash might help you achieve something. But then if you also look at, okay, if I can substitute cash for someone who has the resources or the services to enable me to still operate my business, that is someone investing in your business by being a partner, right? So there's not always a financial investor who needs to give you capital. I know we're all looking for capital, but we need to also really understand our business and see how else can we continue going on in business without having capital. If the capital is not there. Because I understand, let's be honest, things are tough right now, you know, so but we don't want to discourage people from being entrepreneurs. We just want to say, how else can we look at this to enable us to make this happen? I think that is the gift God has given me to trust. Identifying opportunities. Right,
but so then what are some of the level of stake that an investor has in the company? I mean, managerial, directorial, and all of it.
So again, that's when you decide what type of investment. So for example, if someone is giving you, you say, oh, I need like a debt, you know, I'll give you this many, this interest, just like what a bank does, right? There are investors who give you debt, and there are investors who give you equity.
Okay.
And so if an investor is giving you debt, and I typically say those who are trading, you know, it's easy for you, oh, okay, I can calculate how much I will sell to pay you back, and so I need debt.
What is the difference between debt and equity, just for my viewers to understand?
So debt investor is similar like a bank, if I can use that. A bank, you go, you ask for a certain amount. I think I use the word bank because it's easy for someone to relate. But obviously an investment firm can operate like a bank in regards to, you go to a bank, you're looking for maybe say 10,000 Ghana cedis. And then the bank will look at your papers to see what you need it for. I mean, you have good finances for them to prove. They'll come and do due diligence as well. And then the bank will say, so obviously, you know, the bank here, they charge maybe 25–30% interest. I know that's high. Typically, international investors charge lower, okay? And so then now you have to calculate to see, and hopefully you would have done this homework before you go to any investor or any bank, right? See if you can pay back during the period that you said. And I always say to people, if you need to make sure you're paying back even double. So if, let's say you take 10,000 Ghana cedis, the bank is asking for 20% interest on that, right, per annum. And so you need to make sure that if you claim you can pay it back in a year, whatever you are selling, hopefully you're making twice or three times as much because of the risk. You know, we would hope that the economy is consistent and we can pay it back and everybody's happy, but you always have to make sure that whatever you're getting as a loan or investment, try and make sure that your payback period is giving you more than what you are just supposed to pay back. You have to calculate what 20% of a 10,000 is, plus you making even more, because you want to make profit. You can't just be breaking even, you know, so you want to make profit. So that is the debt investor. But an equity investor, much like the venture capital trust fund, which is also part of the government, is we now buy into your business. Now we take shares of your business. And that's why we always say that the company needs to be registered, have shareholders and whatnot. And then they will have to come and say, okay, what is the valuation of your company as it is today? And then you're asking for, let me use again, 10,000 Ghana cedis from, let's assume it's venture capital trust fund, to do, how do you call it, to do venture capital investment. So now they'll come and say, okay, if I give you 10,000 and assuming your company is valued at 20,000 Ghana cedis, then the venture capital might take 20% or 15% of your company as a shareholder. Does it make sense?
It does.
So in a way, he's not going to be on you day and night saying, pay me back, like how a bank typically might be if they notice you're not making the payments. But he believes in you. He actually wants to see you grow. And many times a venture capital fund or a venture capitalist is someone who might also have knowledge of the type of business you're going into. So he's bringing his knowledge in plus his capital, and the knowledge to me is worth than even the little capital he's giving you, because he probably has a network, he has experience as an older person or a more experienced person, and he can give you the advice that could propel your business into higher heights. You know, so I always say I love venture capitalists, but the due diligence you do before you invest in a company using venture capital is much more.
Wow.
Because now we have to check on the entrepreneur. What type of entrepreneur are we investing
in? Wow. I hope you're learning a lot. And now we know who an investor is. We know, you know, what an investor does as well. But do get interactive with us. Any question you want to ask on investment or on entrepreneurship, do ask it, and my guest will tackle it for you. The text number is active 055 30,000 34, 055 30,000 34. Hannah, we now know who an investor is, but what are some of the types of investors open to us in this, you know, in our type of the world or in our kind of the world?
Yes, thank you for asking that question, because I know I just talked about debt and equity, which is fine, but they are also financiers. So I like to call them financiers because they are different types of investors, right? So let's start with the ones we typically know, which are the angel investors, impact, venture capital, and private equity. Now you also have the philanthropists, and then you also have what we do a lot here is the microfinance, you know, bank savings and loan. So if I can go quickly and talk about the different types. So angel investors are those who are looking at startups.
Okay.
We might not have a lot of startups here, but angel investors are looking at startups. So if you're a startup, you don't maybe have a lot to show, you've just started, you look around for angel investors. I know Ghana does not have that many. I know the government through the different schemes are also trying to support startups, from NEP and you know, the different ones, Maslock. So even though Maslock is microfinance, but he still, because he's partnered with the government, he gets some cushion, you could say, so you can take some risk. So startups are those, they can give from $0 to $50,000. So if I say in Ghana cedis, from 0 to 100,000 Ghana cedis. Something small, you know, something that you might need to start. And they take more of a risk because we know that a startup, you haven't maybe tested your business, but it would be great that if you've piloted your business as a startup, then you can also give the investor less stress, you know, like he will know that he's taking a risk, but he'll like, oh, okay, he has piloted, he knows the business in and out, so let's give it a chance. If you haven't started at all, you're less likely to get investment. Why? Because the investor is like, but it's just an idea. Why don't you just get some small money, try, pilot it, something small. So by piloting, you learn that, is this even good for this market? You know, do we have to tweak it here and there? Secondly, you have the impact investors. Now, impact investors are known, I used to actually work for one, it's a US impact investment firm here, taking care of West Africa. And we impact investors, we're focused on the social enterprises.
These investors you are mentioning are open to Ghana as well.
Oh, they're
we
here.
Can find some in Ghana.
Yeah, they're here. I mean, the one I work for, I wasn't sure if I could say the name, but the one I worked for is here in Ghana.
So we can find some angel investors in Ghana. We can find some impact investors in Ghana as well. Okay, let's go on.
What I can do is, you know, in the future we can see how we can even, you know, introduce you to some and bring them on board so they can talk about themselves. But an impact investor basically is looking at social enterprises. And I always say that a lot of things here in Ghana, a lot of things that we do is a social enterprise because we're helping, whether it's the farmers, rural, we're doing something. And so sometimes they will give you money and they're looking at, you might not be making profit per se, they do want you to sustain yourself, right? But they're looking at the impact you're making. So if you show us that you are helping 10,000 farmers or you have changed the life of women, something, then they'll say, oh, you're impacting so many people, so they want to invest in you. So they might not look too much on the profit as a venture capital or private equity will look at, but or a financier like a bank bank or, you know, microfinance, but they're looking at what are the impact you're doing, you know, and how many people are you changing the lives of. And I will say there's a whole language when it comes to impact. You're looking at the depth of the impact, the breadth of the impact. So that's another thing we can talk on. I can go in deeper because I used to actually work for one. And then there's a venture capital.
Yes.
A venture capital are people are looking at business. So assuming you have gone through maybe an angel or impact investor, you've grown your business.
Okay.
Now
So
maybe you're operating, you can see you're making profit, you're, you know, you're stable, you know, you're recruiting people. Then you can go to like the second stage of investment. That is like a venture capital. So now you're doing serious business and you want to scale up or you want to expand to another country, you know, and you need someone to buy into what you're doing. That's where a venture capital can come in. Why? Because you need that kind of patient capital. You need someone to buy into what you're doing because it might take time to, you know, maybe get that machine or go to another country, you know, all the research you need to do, all that is costed and takes time. So that's a venture capital because they buy into what you're doing. However, if again you're doing a very, you know, sharp business, trading, you're producing so much, your demand is higher than your supply, then you could even probably, and your company is big. That means they can look at your track record, your sales. It's definitely not a startup. Then you look for private equities. And we do have private equities here in Ghana as well. But many of them say that there are not a lot of companies that have that high turnovers to enable them to invest in them. A lot of these private equities also have funding from international sources. And so they have to watch the kind of risk. They have to mitigate the risk that they take. And so that's why you don't see them playing down this side where the angel investors at impact play, and then they might be only like government businesses or government projects or some big companies who are doing, you know, big real estate or infrastructure projects. Typically the government seems to be in that. But
so then as an entrepreneur, you need to know the kind of business you're into first of all to even think of getting investors on board. Because you've said the angel is for startups, we have the venture that's for, you know, already grown companies, we have the impact for social. So you need to actually position yourself, in a way that you know that, okay, this is my kind of investor, or this is my kind of investor.
And if you need help, because sometimes you say, oh, but I don't know, it's okay, then you can come to the likes of TKC or other, I guess, bodies out there who can help you identify where you are.
You are the founder of TKC. What do you do at TKC?
Oh, okay, I didn't even mention it. Sorry. TKC, we are a business and investment consulting firm. So we consult big and small. Obviously, we don't get big business, or we don't close big business every day. And so we also know the big pipeline of smaller SMEs that are out there. So we help train and grow, as we call it. We identify, train, and invest in the smaller SMEs, help them to grow. And then we also work with, whether it's government or bigger entrepreneurs, you know, bigger industries who are looking for investment or due diligence, different things. Typically, some of our international investors, before they invest, they want us to do due diligence on a company or individual before they invest. So we support with that. On the flip side, then we help train the smaller entrepreneurs to enable them to, what we're doing here, you know, structure their business, understand who they are, and then where do they want to grow to, so then we can help them develop a sort of timeline. And that could be a simple consultant, you know, engagement, and then they can go on and do it themselves. We know it's good to handhold, but people might not have the capital to enable us to be handholding them through their business. So we just say, let's just see how we can structure and develop a pipeline for you, and then you can go and figure it out. And you can always come back to us for consulting needs. But those who want us to handhold, that's also fine too. But it costs, because we are private sector.
Right. So we'll talk about Cocoa Crunch, but what is back to our investors? What is a fair, you know, percentage for an investor? A very fair deal for an investor?
Now this again varies. Why? Because it varies on the type of investment you're looking at. So let me again use, if let's say,
let's use Cocoa Crunch.
Okay, let's say Cocoa Crunch, the value of this company, and then value might say, what is value? Value is you have done all your financials, and you know that today, as I sit with my assets, with my resources, my ingredients, all that is the value of my company. Assuming, let me just say 10,000 Ghana cedis. It's valued at 10,000 Ghana cedis. That's small, but I'm just using that as a small number for example. And then then after you say, okay, but now in this case, it seems like the demand for this Cocoa Crunch is high, and she cannot supply because she's doing things manually. So then she says, oh, I need to get a machine to enable me to increase my supply to reach my demand. And then her value of the company, because she's using manual labor, right? Maybe she's got her cousins helping her and things to cut the plantain chips and everything. She fries it in her home, or she has her garage. I don't know. But her value is low. So then she says the machine cost 100,000 Ghana cedis if she ships it from, you know, she saw it online. And now she needs to get an investor who can give her not just 100,000 Ghana cedis, because then she also saw customs and other taxes. And then even when you have the machine, you have to get someone to come and train you on how. So then it ends up being nearly 200,000 Ghana cedis. And then you're valued at 10,000 Ghana cedis, your current valuation, because you know, you do everything at home. Now you go to an investor, let me say you go to someone with debt, and the debt says, you're asking for 200,000 Ghana cedis, and you only valued at 10. It's as if he's going to run your whole company. Do you see the difference? So if he gives you the 200,000, he might want nearly 90%
of it.
And I always tell people, okay, it's up to you. I mean, I can give you a strategy of what I advised, but you might say, okay, you give 90% of your company away. Why? Because you have 10,000, you want 200,000. He's literally investing in your company. He is literally running your company. And then obviously you figure out your debt ratio after the machine comes, you know, supply, when can you pay it back? Hopefully the interest is low, you know, not 30%. I personally would not. I personally would not go for a debt if that was my ratio. Because you're literally giving your company away. You can, do you see the difference? I hope. But then if you now find maybe the same ratio, 10,000 Ghana cedis valuation, then you go, you see the machine and everything, you need 200,000, you go to a venture capitalist. A venture capitalist will say, okay, well, I'm still giving you all the money and you're only worth this much. So I'm going to take this much percentage, it might be 90, it might be 80 shares of your company, and then I will, you know, you pay it back. You can arrange that after you pay a certain amount, you reduce the shares, you reduce.
You can negotiate.
You can negotiate. You can do that as well. But again, people don't want to lose a lot of value, or how do you call it, the ownership of their company. And I always tell people, try and make sure whatever you do, try to get 51% of your company. That means you still have the majority share of your company. So you can do that because, you know, there's no pressure like a debt to pay it back. And this one, hopefully he can also help you. Maybe he's the owner of ShopRite, or he's the owner of Maxmart. So he can say, all the Maxmart will be selling my thing, because he's bringing some more value to it. So then you can say, okay, if you agree that after I pay a certain amount or I bring back a certain amount, you reduce the share. So you, in a way, you're not paying him back, but so the value of the company is
going up.
So you get your shares back.
There's no specific percentage open to an investor.
The only thing I recommend that entrepreneurs do is see that you can keep the majority share. However, have you heard of the phrase that says that, do you rather be a 0% shareholder of $1 million, or no, I think they said 10% shareholder of $1 million company, or a 90% shareholder of a 200 Ghana company? You know?
decide.
So you decide. So, but it's still a matter of negotiation, and make sure that your contract states or stipulates that as you grow your company, you can win your shares back. So in a way, I don't want to say no to someone because it's a case-by-case basis. This might be the only money that someone has agreed to give the person. So allow them to give the money, become a smaller shareholder, grow the company, but make sure your contract stipulates that as you grow the company and you're happy with the results, shares keep on coming back to me. But if in this case when I tried these chips, Jesus.
You loved it. Well, I'm sure next week we'll get the chance to talk about these chips, because the packaging is beautiful as well.
Yeah.
And that's what we should all, you know, strive to be. Put more value on your goods, put more value on your product. This is very, very important. Next week we'll talk about how we can position ourselves to, you know, attract investors. Now we know who an investor is. We know the types of investors and the types of investors open towards the percentages, how to even strike a deal between an investor. But next week we'll talk about how you, an entrepreneur, how you can package yourself to attract these investors. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you next week. But I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Kin is up next with some tech discussion right here. It's still GMG Plus, and we are live on Metro Television.